Welcome to the C-Suite Mentor, the place where you will learn the tools, strategies, and mindset to scale your business sustainably and build a lasting legacy. I'm your host, Theresa. As a fellow CEO, I understand what it takes to scale a business to 7 and multiple 8 figures. It's not necessarily what you might think. It requires a complete shift in how you think, strategize, and execute key actions in your business. My mission is to help CEOs step back into the driver's seat of their business by optimizing their operations, empowering their team, and staying in total alignment with their big vision. So, are you ready to exchange everything that hasn't worked for strategies that will? You're in the right place, so let's go. Hello. So I have a question for you. Have you been feeling stuck lately? Or maybe not lately, but maybe over the past couple months or month, or I don't know, just whenever. Have you felt stuck? Because if you have, you're not alone. I've had conversations with clients of mine over the past month, or even since the beginning of the year, and just having this feeling of being stuck and not really sure where it's coming from, but also not really sure how to get out of it. And the truth is that if you have that feeling, more often than not, it's an indication that either change is coming or that you need to make change happen. So I think that we get stuck, and I know I've been there myself many times over. And again, the reason why I'm saying that typically it means that there's change coming or that we need to make a change, because that's exactly what I've been through myself. And clients of mine that I've worked with that have said, I feel stuck. Like the environment just feels stagnant in my business, or my business feels stagnant, or things just aren't working. And I think my team just kind of feels stuck. And while human behavior, I think, is that we want to make it mean that there's something wrong with the business, or that we're a failure, or that things aren't going to get better, or we're not going to be able to get through these challenges. The truth is that what it really means is that we need to make a change somewhere. And I recently had this conversation with a client of mine where things just felt heavy. Things felt heavy in his business. Everything that he was doing, it was almost like, and this is somebody who has 1,000 ideas a minute, and true visionary, serial entrepreneur. And he said things just feel heavy. They feel heavy, and they feel like no matter what we're implementing or trying, it's just not sticking and things aren't working, and we can't quite figure out like what to do next. And the truth is that his business needed a change, and they needed a change in going back and revisiting the vision. They needed a change in team. They needed some changes in some leadership and some changes in the team, but they also needed to really reflect on what it was that they were offering in the business and go back to their core. So I want to, and here's the thing, being a really good leader, being a good CEO, you're going to have times when you feel stuck or the business feels stuck. It's just, it happens. But the truth is that feeling of being stuck is really what it is. It's our thought that or our thought about what's happening and the belief that we put on the circumstances that are happening in our business. But the thing that we want to do as business owners, as leaders, as CEOs, is to be aware of it. And I call it the 3 R's. We want to recognize it, we want to reflect on it, and then we want to release it. And release it doesn't mean poof, it's gone and, whatever. That actually means taking some action. So the first question that you want to really ask yourself, or the first step to all of this, is to really ask yourself, number one, are we getting better in our business? Am I getting better as a leader? Am I getting better as a CEO and driving the vision forward? So I like to call this being self-aware and really looking at the facts of what is happening versus just the emotion behind it. Because when we solely just look at it from the emotional side, we can't really see, or it clouts our ability to be able to see what's really happening. So the first thing that we want to do is that self-awareness piece, to ask ourselves, number one, what is really happening here? Like, what are the facts? Facts are, we might have some people in leadership positions that aren't necessarily leading the way that aligns with our core values. Fact, we've tried to launch this specific opportunity, this specific offer, or we've had this product line for a while and it's just not selling. That's a fact. Does it mean that you're a poor business owner or a bad business owner? No. Does it mean that your team is doing something wrong? No. I know classically, when products or offers or services aren't working, everybody wants to blame marketing. And it normally isn't that. So we want to just get clear on what the facts are. Again, do you have the wrong people in the wrong positions? Are we offering something that might not be in alignment with what the core is of our business, or what the core values are that we believe in as a business and as a business owner? And really getting clear on, okay, what are the facts? What is happening with the business? But then also asking yourself, am I consistently getting better? Have I been consistently getting better? How have I been showing up as the CEO and as the business leader in my business? If you're frustrated with things that are happening, and how this ends up coming to be is that as a business owner, it's very, very easy for us to look at the circumstances that are happening in our business: loss of revenue, loss of profit, not profitable, things not selling, people not working together, the operations aren't running smoothly. It's very easy for us to look at that and maybe not necessarily, especially if you are like really visionary, to you're frustrated by it, and you get frustrated by it. You might not outwardly express it, but it comes across in your energy and the way that you show up. So looking at what's happening and saying, am I letting this current circumstance, loss of revenue, loss of profit, difficult and challenging employees, challenging economy, whatever it is, am I letting that current circumstance impact my ability to lead? Am I letting that current circumstance impact what happens next in the business? That's the first question to ask yourself. More often than not, in my own experience working with CEOs of small businesses, the answer to that is yes. They're letting that impact how they feel, which just people see it. They can read right through it. The other thing is letting past challenges or failures or missteps or whatever, again, dictate meaning on what's happening. So we either let current circumstance dictate what's happening, or we let the past dictate what's happening and how we feel about what's happening. And what that does, both of those things, when getting more self aware as far as how we're showing up as a leader, as a CEO, have we gone back into the weeds, gotten back into the weeds and all the getting back into the day to day, and we have stopped focusing on driving the vision forward. We've stopped focusing on building for the future. That oftentimes happens when these challenges come up. It's just human instinct to, as an owner, to want to protect what you've built. So what do? We go back and we go into the weeds. And then we look at the situation and say, my team's not working together. They're out of sync. Everybody's focusing on the day-to-day stuff, but all these big projects are falling by the wayside and we have all these cracks. And what we need to do is reflect on, how have we shown up? And again, looking at the facts of the situation and the facts of what is happening versus the emotion. And that's how we can start to Going to throw a little bit of a woo-woo term at you, but that's how we can start to ground ourselves back down and start to come out of that feeling of being stuck or stagnant or frustrated and not really sure what direction to take next. It's always a good idea, whether I'm working with somebody new in a business, or we're looking at a project, or whatever it is, to get that baseline, to get that assessment and that baseline, and be aware of, because awareness is going to that's the first step with anything, is to be aware of the problem, be aware of the situation, be aware of what's happening, and then we can do something. So the next thing is, after we have that self-awareness and we kind of do our assessment and we're aware of what's happening, the next step is to connect back to the big bold vision and take bold action. So we can look and we can say, all right, what really is, we can start to look at what is it that we're trying to build? What is that future we're trying to create? And what is it that we're trying to build? What is our vision once again? We can look at that and we can say, okay, how have we gotten away from it? And how can we connect back to it? I don't think that business owners look at their vision enough. I don't think they look at it enough. And I also don't think that they communicate it to their team enough. I know when I've worked with businesses, their team members don't even know what the vision is. The employees don't even know what the vision is. So I think we need to go back and look at it and say, okay, let's reconnect. So the first step was the self-awareness piece. Now we're going to connect back to our bold vision so we can take and figure out what next bold action do we need to take. Is it that we need to move people around in the organization? Is it possibly that we need to part ways with someone? Maybe there's somebody that really is causing a lot of challenges and obstacles and preventing your team, your employees, to really rise up and do the best job that they can. Maybe it's that you need to let go of all of these things that you've added into the business that have created a lot of complexity and a lot of dysfunction and has gotten you away from whatever the core is that your business is all about. So, as well as with bold action, maybe it's that you need to find, if you're a restaurant and you have had so much increase in cost, maybe it's that you need to find a new purveyor. Maybe it's you need to create a new strategic partnership with somebody. So what are those next bold actions that you need to take? And they don't need to be, when I say bold, they don't need to be like giant steps, just small steps, but bold. Like I said, it could be realizing that you need to part ways with somebody. It could be that realizing that this product line that you brought on and you thought was going to be the next best thing doesn't really align with this vision that you want to create, that future that you're trying to build. So the first thing is connect with that bold vision so that you can take bold action. So when we get more self-aware, we look at the facts versus emotion. We look at, okay, what's really happening here? How have I really been showing up? Have I been super frustrated? Where is the energy just squished? Where is the energy squished? And we need to release it. It's almost like a hose that's been kinked. Where do we need to unkink the hose so that we can get things rolling? We can get things flourishing once again. So the third thing that we need to do, our third step, is figure out, what do we need to let go of? Where do we need to course correct? Where do we need to be adaptable? And look at, okay, this was the plan that we set out, but we know that it doesn't align with our vision. And we know that it's causing our team to not show up as their best self. It's also causing me as the CEO and the business owner to not show up as my best self. So where do we need to let go? What do we need to let go of? It could just be a belief. It could be a belief of, my industry is so challenging and hard and difficult. That's just the way my business is going to be. Maybe it's a big belief that you and your team need to let go of. That even though the industry might be showing challenges and rapid changing landscape, such as the tech industry or the movie industry or restaurant industry, but that doesn't mean anything about your business. And maybe it's just that letting go of that belief. And once you let go of that belief, things will start to free up. In the circumstance of my client, like I said, he had some people that needed to part ways. He had some things, some opportunities that they had signed up for that they needed to let go of. But they also, one of the big things was shifting the belief about what was possible in their community and in the industry. And once they were able to let go of these different things started to open up. And you could feel it as soon as like you walked in the door, you could just feel the energy shift. It was the same thing with me when I've gone through these things. It was either I needed to part ways with a teammate. Somebody wasn't necessarily aligning with the vision that I had and the goals that I have and the direction that I was moving with my business. And there was some friction that was happening because when we are trying to push things through, or we're trying to pursue an opportunity that really is in alignment, there's going to be friction. When we aren't elevating ourselves as CEOs, as business owners, as entrepreneurs, when we aren't consistently pushing ourselves to be better, a better version of who we are, when we aren't consistently pursuing growth in ourselves, there's going to be friction. Because if the business is growing and you're not, there's going to be a misalignment. If you're growing and the business isn't, there's going to be a misalignment. If your team isn't growing and you're growing, misalignment. So you can see where the friction starts to happen, which is why I said in the beginning that when we feel like this, typically, more often than not, it's because there's change. There's change coming, there's transformation coming, and there's change that needs to happen. So as leaders, the three things that we can do first are, number one, recognize what's happening. And the biggest thing is we don't stay there. We reflect on it and then we release it. And we do that by, number one, becoming self-aware. How are we showing up? Get the baseline, take the assessment, be aware of what's happening. Awareness is the key to creating change. Awareness is the key and to getting clarity. We have to be aware of the situation, looking at the facts versus the emotion or the meaning that we're assigning to whatever's happening. Connect back to our bold vision and start taking bold action. Bold, not big, bold as in this is a hard decision that we need to make, or this is something that's going to push us out of our comfort zone. And it could just be a very small step, but a very bold step. For me, a bold step that I made was I started writing my book proposal. Needed to take a bold step. Very small step, very bold at the same time, which is going to shift the trajectory that I was on and get me closer to achieving that goal of writing a book. And then the third one is we need to have adaptability. Adaptability is going to be key in 2024, as well as even beyond that. It's our ability to, as I like to say, gracefully pivot and be adaptable, not be so stuck on. And I've seen this. I've had people who have been on my team that do this. We say we're going to do something and they get so stuck on making that happen and they don't want to shift gears. And that squishes the energy in a business faster than anything, because what that does is when we're not willing to be adaptable, we're not willing to pivot, because like I said, things change so fast these days. And when we're not willing to do that, that actually creates a level of toxicity in your culture. And it creates a level of control, of people trying to control things that are uncontrollable. So we want to make sure that we have the ability, we have adaptability built into our business. If we make a decision to do something, we have conviction behind it. But when we look at the facts and we look at like what's happening, we also can say and be flexible enough to say, you know what? Let's make a small course correct because I think we can actually do this better. I was just on a training today and they were talking about launching. And when you launch a program, if you're an online business owner, no matter what you're launching a new product, or you're launching a course, or you're launching a new offer, a new menu item, whatever it is, it might not work the first time. More often than not, it won't. But we have to keep trying and adapting and adapting and adapting to make it even better until we finally get it to the way that we want it or to have it work amazing. And then guess what? We keep doing it and we keep making small tweaks until we get it to the point that we want it. And then maybe we try something else or we add something to it or whatever it is. But adaptability is going to be key because, again, there are so many industries that it's not necessarily a problem with the business. It's just that the industry and the landscape in the industry just changes so fast and so rapidly that we want to be able to adapt and shift with it and not create that toxicity in our culture that will trump any strategy or vision faster than anything simply because we don't want to be adaptable. So hopefully this helped you. If you are feeling stuck, just know that you're not alone. These are things that businesses go through, business owners go through. And remember, it's how you look at it. It's how you look at that being stuck. Because more often than not, what it means is that you're growing and that growth is coming for you as the CEO, but also for your business, for your team. And growth is good. Growth is one of the human desires that people want. So if you're feeling stuck, you're feeling stagnant, take an assessment, look and see what's happening, look at the facts, then go back and look at your vision and figure out what you need to do differently. Figure out how you connect back to that again and don't let whatever the current circumstances hold you back. Or don't let anything that happened in the past hold you back. We learn from it. We learn from all of it. And then we continue to move forward. And in case I have a new free resource that we just created, if you go to theresacantley.com/entrepreneur, if you are feeling like this, I have this new assessment. You can go on, it'll take you 90 seconds to do. And it will show you what type of business owner you are, but it'll give you your blind spots, but it'll also give you some action items that you can take today to start kind of getting rid of that feeling of being stuck. So I hope you have gotten some insights from this. And like I said, if you're feeling stuck, I think a lot of people are right now. And I think just with everything that's going to be happening between the election and everything that's going on in the world, I think that this is going to be kind of one of these things. So we all need to walk each other home and take care of each other just a little bit more than we already do, because small businesses cannot go anywhere, because we are the backbone that makes a community better and the society stronger. So, all right, until next week, I hope everybody stays well, and I hope my voice gets better.
Hey there. Thank you so much for listening. If you found value on this show, please follow the podcast so you never, ever miss an episode. And I would love, love, love if you would leave a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify for me. Even better, share the show with a fellow business owner ready to step fully into their CEO leadership role. Because right now, more than ever, the world really needs next level leaders. And by the way, did you know you can text me all your questions and get real-time feedback? You absolutely can. Just text the word CEO to me at 610-215-2838 to get connected. One last goodie for you before I go. If you're ready to scale your business and have a co-creator working right by your side, my C-Suite Mentor Program may be perfect for you and your possible new second in command. Just visit thecsuitementor.com to get started.